Hello, welcome to the Crafty Oasis. Today I'm going to show you how I created this axolotl in Canva entirely from shapes, and I used that design on a unique Valentine last year. And while I actually can draw, I've had a challenge in the past of hand drawing and then trying to digitize my drawings. I don't really know the best way to do that. I don't have the highest quality scanner. So I thought, why don't I just make an axolotl out of shapes? And it worked out very well. On a side note, I love making characters and designs out of shapes, and I actually have done this a lot of times for other things, although this axolotl is the most complex design that I've made so far entirely out of shapes. So if you'd like to see how I did this, we're going to go ahead and hop into Canva and I will show you the tutorial. So I was making this axolotl in Canva out of shapes, and I decided to screen record so that I could show you the process. So you'll notice that the belly is made from a circle that I grabbed in the elements. I grabbed the circle shape and then I manipulated it into an oval. And then I duplicated that for the head and made that a little bit smaller and tilted it at a different angle and added a triangle to the top for that little point. Then I grouped all those together so that they could make the body. And then for the tail, that's another two ovals stretched out and then kind of a teardrop shape of a bigger size in the background with the darker pink, and then a teardrop shape in the front with the lighter pink, and group those together. For the hind legs, I used a semicircle with 4 triangles that were stretched out, and then I grouped those together and duplicated that so that I could have 2 hind legs, and then I just rotate them to my desired angle to make it look more like an axolotl, or like it was in motion. The front legs are made from 2 square shapes and elements, and they're stretched into rectangles, and then I also added 4 triangles that were stretched out. Then I did the same thing, I grouped those and duplicated that so I had 2 front legs and adjusted the angle as well. I actually ended up ungrouping all of the shapes that made up the second front arm. I did that because I wanted it at an entirely different angle, and so you'll see me actually adjusting each individual piece of it to get it positioned exactly how I want it. I wanted it to look like the axolotl was swimming or maybe climbing up on land. If you've ever seen a video of an axolotl, you'll understand what movement I'm trying to capture. And honestly, fun fact, I didn't even know axolotls were a real thing. A few years ago, I believe during the pandemic, I was talking to my daughter and she was telling me about them, and I thought, oh, those are just mythical creatures, because she was showing me them in Minecraft. And then she told me that they were actually real and where they lived and everything, so I thought it was really interesting and funny because I'd never heard of them before, and you just learn throughout life and you can learn from anywhere. So I just wanted to share that with you. For the frill on the axolotl's head, I painstakingly made the spikes by adding a semicircle shape and then a lot of triangles that were stretched out to make them more long and slender. Then I grouped those on one side, duplicated that, and then that way they were on both sides. And initially I actually was going to recreate each individual part of the frill or spike of the frill separately. And so I decided, instead of duplicating and potentially having things ungroup and getting frustrated, I just made a new page, and then I added the axolotl frill spike to the page, enlarged it, and then I just ended up uploading it as an image, and you'll see that a little bit later on in the video. After I downloaded it as an image and then uploaded it, I went ahead and duplicated, so I had a total of 6, and I had already made 3 the other way that I originally had done it before I thought to save it as an image. So if you're recreating this yourself, you'll want to make sure that you have 3 of the spikes on each side, which makes up the frill on the head of the axolotl. After I had all 6 of the spikes on the head to make up the frill, then I grabbed a semicircle and teardrops from the element shapes, and I changed the colors to match the darker pink in the design. And then ultimately I grouped everything together to make sure they wouldn't shift, downloaded the image, and then re-uploaded it to create my unique valentines. If this was helpful in creating designs without having to draw or wanting to draw, just using shapes, please share and save, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.